Welcome. We're about to take a little journey into the deep, enchanted forest of folklore. But we're not just looking for the stories you think you know. We're actually searching for a hidden map, one that leads to a place you might not expect, right inside your own mind.
I mean, have you ever really thought about that? It's kind of a fascinating question, isn't it? From the dark forests of Germany to the mountains of Japan, you find these echoes. A brave young hero, a terrible monster, a wise old guide.
Exactly.
How is that even possible? You have cultures that never, ever met, yet they're telling the same basic tales. It's a mystery that has completely captivated scholars and psychologists for centuries.
And this is where it all clicks. The answer isn't just about history or how stories travel. It's much deeper. It's about psychology. These tales, they're not just for entertainment. They're actually blueprints, symbolic roadmaps of the human psyche. They're maps of us.
Okay, so if we want to understand this map, we first have to explore the land it's describing. And our journey really begins with this incredible idea from the psychiatrist Carl Jung. He called it the collective unconscious.
So what Jung was saying is that beneath our own personal consciousness, our individual memories and thoughts, there's a much deeper layer. And this layer isn't unique to you or me. It's something we all share. It's an inheritance from our species' entire history, kind of like a psychological bedrock for all of humanity, filled with these ancient images and patterns we're all born with.
And a really cool way to think about this today is to picture a giant, invisible cloud server for the human soul. Seriously, we're all connected to it, and it comes preloaded with the operating system for being human. Birth, death, love, struggle. And the fairy tales? Well, they're like the files stored inside.
So if the collective unconscious is the stage, then who are the actors performing on it? Well, Jung called them archetypes. These are the universal characters that live inside that ancestral cloud. And trust me, you already know them very, very well.
Okay, so let's look at this inner cast. First up, we've always got the hero, right? Think of Jack climbing that beanstalk.
And psychologically, what the hero really represents is the ego, our conscious self, on its big journey to become a whole, complete person.
Then, of course, there's the villain, the shadow, the big bad wolf. And this is so important. This isn't just some evil monster out there. The shadow is a symbol for the parts of ourselves that we push down or deny, the parts we don't like. We also almost always meet the wise guide, like the fairy godmother. She represents that inner voice of wisdom we all have. It's our intuition, our gut feeling, that helps guide us. And finally, there's the anima or animus, the prince or princess waiting to be rescued. This one symbolizes the hidden masculine or feminine qualities that exist inside all of us, which we have to connect with to find real balance.
Now, out of all these characters, the one that's probably the most misunderstood, and honestly the most crucial for our own personal growth, is the villain, the shadow. So why is it so essential that every hero has a monster to fight?
It's because the wolf, the witch, the evil stepmother, they aren't just there to be beaten up. They actually personify the parts of our own nature that we're scared of or we try to repress, our anger, our jealousy, our greed. The story is teaching us that real heroism isn't about destroying that darkness, but about having the courage to face it, to understand it, and to integrate its energy.
And that's exactly why these stories are so incredibly powerful, especially for kids. They create this safe space, almost like a psychological training ground. A child can feel what it's like to be Little Red Riding Hood facing that wolf, and through her story, they can safely explore their own deep-seated fears. The tale gives these huge, scary emotions a name and a face, which lets us deal with them from a safe distance.
So, you see, this whole confrontation thing, it's not random at all. It follows this very specific pattern that shows up over and over again. Not just in fairy tales, but in our own lives, too. It's the universal blueprint for how we grow as people.
So let's just break this blueprint down. First, it always starts with dependence. Think of Cinderella sitting in the cinders, or Jack living at home with his mom. The hero is sort of incomplete. Then comes the big one, confrontation. The hero is forced out into the world to face the witch, the giant, their shadow. And finally, through that struggle, they achieve independence. See, they don't just win a prize at the end. They become a more whole, more self-aware person. That's the path to psychological adulthood, right there.
Okay, so we've journeyed through this collective unconscious. We've met our inner cast of characters. But what's the point of having a map if you don't actually use it to find your own way? How does all this ancient wisdom apply to you, right here, right now?
And here is the biggest takeaway. The journey of the hero is your journey. The challenges you're facing at work, in your relationships, even just inside your own head, those are your dragons. Those are your dark forests. These stories have survived for thousands of years because the human condition itself hasn't really changed. They are a timeless guide for navigating the challenges of your own life.
So really, these stories are mirrors. The next time you come across one, and it doesn't have to be an old book, it could be a huge blockbuster movie like Star Wars, don't just sit back and watch. Use the map. Ask yourself, okay, what part of me is the hero on this quest? What's the shadow I really need to confront? And where can I find my own inner guide? Because your own great story is waiting to be understood.